Since Red Hat made significant changes to the release model of CentOS, a large community has come together to build a replacement named Rocky Linux. In May 2021, they finished their first release candidate based on CentOS 8.3. Stay tuned to find out how you can migrate a test machine from CentOS 8 to this release candidate and what experience you're gonna get. Hi, my name is Bernhard, I'm a software engineer working in Vienna, and in this video I'm going to focus on the newest release candidate of Rocky Linux 8. I will show you how you can migrate a CentOS 8 machine on DigitalOcean to Rocky Linux 8, guide you through the migration process and show you that the migrated services are still running successfully after the migration. Let's get started. At first, we are going to create a new CentOS 8 based server. I'm using DigitalOcean and I will create a new droplet based on the available CentOS 8 image. Choose any kind of plan in any data center, and I will use my pre-filled SSH key so I can connect to the droplet later. Let's give it a good host name. Let's say CentOS Rocky Migration. That sounds fine. And create droplet. And while DigitalOcean is creating my droplet, let me give a quick summary of what we're going to do. So I will set up this CentOS container, install a web server, and then we're going to run the migration to Rocky Linux 8. I will show you that the web server is still functioning, and I will also show you that we can install new packages on Rocky Linux 8 based on their package manager. So the droplet has been created. I can copy the IP address and switch to the terminal, and I can connect directly via root at that IP address because I have uploaded my SSH key. This is a new droplet, so I accept this fingerprint. And everything worked. We have the host name that has been specified by us previously, and the server is ready. So let's just do a quick yum update so we're sure that we are on the latest CentOS 8.3 version that's available. So yes, let's do that upgrade. And once this is finished, we will install the nginx HTTP server, and we will do a quick test run with it, so we're sure that the web server functions in CentOS 8.3, so we can check later if it still works under Rocky Linux. So I will fast forward a bit. And now we have the newest software updates. By the way, we can check the currently installed operating system version by catting etc/Red Hat release. And if we do that, we can see we have CentOS Linux release 8.3.2011. So next we will install the nginx web server. We do that by running yum install nginx, and it will automatically list all the packages we need. And of course, in that list is the nginx web server and also some of its dependencies. Let's say yes, and it will now install nginx. We can then start the nginx service by saying service nginx start. And we can verify that it works by running curl localhost, and we can see we receive an HTML website saying welcome to nginx on Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And down here it also says powered by Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Alright, now we want to migrate this web server to Rocky Linux release candidate for version 8. So they do provide a migration script. The link is in the video description below. It's called CentOS to Rocky. And if we go to raw and copy this URL, we can, by running wget, oh, it's not installed, so let's quickly install that, and then we can run wget this URL and it will download the script. Let's quickly investigate the contents, and it indeed is the script we want to run. Please mind it only supports CentOS 8.3, so if you're on a CentOS version below, make sure you upgrade to version 8.3 before you run this script. So we will exit VI and we can mark this shell script as executable by running chmod +x, and then we can run it. This will now replace all the CentOS packages that are installed on the server and replace them with the corresponding packages of Rocky Linux. This is not as drastic as migrating from CentOS to a completely different distribution with a different package manager, as for example Ubuntu or Debian, but it's just moving package sources from one repository to the other one and running a reinstall. So I will again fast forward a bit until this installation is completed, and then I will show you how we are going to use this new Rocky Linux version. See you soon. Alright, the conversion process has finished. You can see from the output that the migration was successful. And again, the warning that this release is not for production use and you should not update from this installation to a future release version, since this will not be supported. So please proceed at your own risk, but for our little demo this is exactly what we wanted. And we can now reboot our system since we want to use the new operating system now. So let's make a shutdown -R. And let's give the machine a few seconds to reboot, and then we can connect to it again and it should run Rocky Linux version 8. So I connect again and we are again logged in as root. We can have a look at the Red Hat version. And indeed, it says Rocky Linux release 8.3. Let's do a quick yum update just to be sure we are still on the newest version. We are. And now we can try to install a new package. Let's say, for example, Vim. This will now use the new package repository from Rocky Linux. And if we accept, Vim will be installed and it looks like it completed successfully. So yes, we can run Vim. Perfect. Now we're interested in whether the nginx service is still working. So let's run it again. And curl localhost. And indeed, it is working. And indeed, as expected, the branding has changed to Rocky Linux. So the migration process was smart enough to also replace the default file for the nginx web service, which is pretty cool. We can also open the IP of our droplets in the web browser, and we can now see this HTML in a rendered form. So everything working just fine. Now, as I said, this migration process is still a work in progress, and please don't use it on production systems. However, if you want to make a field test with your current setup and you want to make sure that it is ready for the upcoming Rocky Linux 8 release that will be final in the next few months, hopefully, then this is a very good way to make this test run. So feel free to make this upgrade maybe on a newly created machine, maybe on a copy of your current server, and play around with it a little bit. In my experience, the release candidate was quite stable, everything worked as expected, but of course let me know in the comments if you found any errors or misconfigurations. Summary: Rocky Linux 8 is a very promising project and the release team did a very good job so far. However, please keep in mind this is just a release candidate and should not be used in production environment. Also, the team explicitly mentioned that there might not be a path forward from this release candidate, so you might need to start up from scratch if the final version of Rocky Linux is released and you are stuck with your release candidate. However, if you just wanna test the waters and find out if Rocky Linux is right for you or whether it can support your current services, feel free to check the release candidate out. In my experience, it ran very smoothly and in a very stable way, and I did not experience any bugs so far. I hope this guide was useful. Please let me know if you have any questions regarding the migration process, and have a great day.